Ohio Business Spotlight, powered by Greg Fay Insurance. Talk to Greg Fay today if you need any and all coverages. Greg, welcome. Welcome to the podcast this week. Tell us about the amazing guests that we have on.
Well, this one is number one. I normally know a little bit about our guests ahead of time, and I kind of know something about what they do. It's easy to, start talking to leaders about leadership and entrepreneur and things like that right there. This one right here, I know a great deal about the organization that Sarah and I represent. So this one is going to be, gosh, I just hope everybody gets the message. I've been priming this all week, trying to make our community aware of what Centerville Noon Optimist does. We impact kids' lives. And our guest today, Sarah Umbright, is our sitting president of the Centerville Noon Optimist, the largest in the way of the money that we raise on an annual basis, largest in the world. We have somewhere, give or take, 300 members, and we raise a lot of money, but I won't let the cat out of the bag yet about how much. Sarah Umbright, we are so doggone excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Sarah, one of the things that I know from being in the nonprofit sector for as many years as I was is that volunteerism in the United States is declining at a rapid rate, like historically. And what I continue to see is that business leaders, entrepreneurs, they're short on time, they're short on resources, and yet good in the world still needs to happen. So let's say that you're sitting across the table from somebody who is like, I know that I want to do a little bit more, but I don't really have time. Give us your best pitch on why the Centerville Noon Optimist, or even the Optimist 2.0, is the place to make sure that they get engaged with.
I would say, as Greg mentioned, we are a very large club with over 300 individuals, but I would say we have something for everyone that all revolves around helping children and making an impact in their lives. There are so many opportunities within our club that you could do as much as you want, or if you don't have the time to do as much as some people, there are activities that you could choose from, that one or two that just really speak to you, but yet you're still a very important part to the club itself. Whether you're helping at a volunteer event, like bike safety, you're just showing up and helping that day, or you help lead a committee that runs major things like the golf outing, or help on the Christmas tree lot during the season, helping with childhood health and wellness committee. You get to choose how much you are involved in Centerville Noon Optimist, and we just love every member, whether we see them every week at lunch or whether we see them once or twice a year, because we know at the heart they are optimists that want to help take care of children, like all of the members in our club.
Boy, Sarah, you could not have said that any better. Messaging between you and I'm the chairman of the 2.0 committee. Every president that has sat for their year term has been so incredibly supportive of 2.0, but 2.0 is really just another entryway into Centerville Noon Optimist. It's not its own entity. It's just another door that you can open at a different time, in a different day, in a different venue. And you and I have been talking about messaging, I'm sure, as you talk with the board, and you've sat in on so many of my committee meetings where we talk about you are valued. If you can't come to one single Tuesday at noon lunch or one single third Thursday event out in the community, or one coming up this month right here as a Heavier Than Air Brewery, And it's the topic matter is something that is so passionate to parents with children. The library, we're going to learn everything that's new about the library, but we've been talking about messaging and making sure that people understand that their participation level, even at the smallest level, makes a difference. So I love that you said that. And when you look back over not just your tenure as president, when you look back at the snippet of time that you've known our club, what do you see when you see members of our club? Give me an example. Pick maybe one big volunteer event where it's all hands on deck. It's the Christmas tree lot, unloading and trying to sell 1,000 trees in 3 weeks, or whether it's a Build-A-Bear event where there might just be a smaller number of people there. Tell me what you've seen with volunteers when they attend those events, because that's really where you get to know people in the organization, and that's where difference gets made. Tell me about your observation there.
It's hard to choose just one, so because I don't want to do any of them a disservice, because each one of them has a different feel. Everybody comes out of each one of them with a different perspective, if you will. Let me just, I'll choose the golf outing because that's coming up here in July. It is one of our major fundraisers for the club, and we come together. You know, the committee starts planning in August, right after the golf outing, and it is an all hands on deck event. It is the committee itself doing all the pre-planning, which within the committee, there's at least, I would say, 10 or 12 subcommittees. Everybody doing a piece to make sure that golf outing is successful. You have the silent auction, you have the food, you have the people that interact with Sycamore Creek Country Club. It's huge. And then the day of, if you're a part of that, it goes from morning till evening till after dinner time. And every person that comes through there to help has a job, but they get to interact with so many different people from the community. All of the people that come into golf, know what we do as an organization, and really appreciate and come in and are ready to spend the day with us. And it is just, when you're done with that day and that evening, you definitely have a different perspective of all the members. Every member has poured their heart out in making sure that fundraiser is successful. And we have people that come back year after year after year just to golf in the outing, and to support us also as sponsors. So we really appreciate that. And like I said, it's really hard to choose one event. We had an event the other night where I had a member come up to me and say, "This is amazing." He was a newer member. He was just so impressed because we had students come in that had gotten either scholarships or won contests during the year, or won awards from us during the year. And they got to come up and be individually recognized. And when he left, he said it just really warms your heart just to see all these great kids and come in with their families and have the chance just to be individually recognized like that. So that's really special, and everybody takes something different away from it.
Sarah, let me ask you this. This is a passion project for you, obviously leadership at a high level. I know that you have a day job that requires actually most of your attention. You have a family. What are some of the things that you've learned as the president about what it means to lead a group of volunteers that's kind of transcended work and home?
The biggest thing I've learned, and I've been a part of the organization for a while, just volunteering in anything that I can get involved in. But as the president, one of the biggest things I've learned, this club does not exist on one person. It exists on the back of every single member that is part of this organization. And we just have some really talented individuals, and you learn a lot about people. I'm always saying, I didn't know you did that, or that's part of your life, or things like that, or that you could even do that, and thank you, or that you knew these people. So every day I'm just impressed by the people that are in this organization, and that you just, things just run. We have over 56 committees that are active in our club, and about all of them and what they do, but people are just so responsible, and they have the heart to make sure that each one of them is successful. They just run, and every one of them just does great things. So that's the biggest thing I think I learned. It going in, that we have all these people that are part of the club, but then to see so many of them be so impactful is just amazing.
Well, let's have a roundtable discussion here. Tony, I'm going to ask you a question, and then Sarah is going to find an opportunity to jump in here. Nobody has more passion for this community than Tony Miltenberger, and it shows itself so many different ways. You're the one who has led each one of our podcasts with just explaining how small business, and in this case, nonprofits, service organizations, how they impact the community. Give me a little bit, Tony, of why do you say that? Why do you've placed such value on it, and it's leaked into me. It's been a steady drip into me where I probably didn't recognize it when we started this right here, but that has been the common thread every single time you talk about how the community is impacted. Where do you see the impact, Tony? Like all of the different, you've engaged with Centerville Noon Optimist before, but so many more things. You're a pastor at a local church, which obviously plays a big part in the community. Tony, why has community impact been so important for you? You've shifted this podcast in such a positive way that it serves so many different purposes, and your heart beats for that. Why does your heart beat for that, Tony?
I think there's a reality that I think the Noon Optimists actually get really well, which is if we don't care for each other, then we all fail. And nonprofits have a unique way to cut through a lot of the smoke and mirrors about worrying about profit, for example, right? Like the Centerville Noon Optimist wants to be profitable for the sake of the mission, but it doesn't actually have to make a profit in order to succeed. And that's a beautiful thing, because you can care more about the cause than you care about the bottom line. And they live in tension, obviously, but the beautiful part about nonprofits is that they're not run by a person, they're run by the community, for the community. Sarah, I'm curious from your perspective, as you look over your time, where do you see like the biggest impact that the Noon Optimist has made in Centerville?
Oh gosh.
That's a tough question. It's hard, not fair. It's like picking your favorite child.
Yeah, she's got a lot to choose from, so she's got a lot of material, and thankfully she knows so much about it. Sarah?
Yeah, just the regular impacts of just our free programs that we offer the kids, right? We do the fishing derby. We bring kids in from all over for a free event for fishing derby. Some may never have fished. Some may have done it every day, and there's great prizes for them. But we also do a lot in the schools. We support a lot of the high school kids with scholarships heading out into college. And then not only the scholarships, we support a lot of the school programs through donations when they come to us, like Hope Squad, SAD. They come to us with a good cause, and they're trying to get the message out too. We support them, and not only within schools, but we do donations within the Centerville, Washington Township area as well. We have recently just approved through our long-range planning. The Washington Centerville Public Library is going through major renovations, and they were getting ready to recreate their children's area. Was a perfect timing for them and for us, because we said, hey, that's what we are. We're all about kids, and we just donated $50,000 to Washington Centerville Library so they could finish those 3 specific areas that will be for children. So it's
Wow, that's amazing.
yeah, it's things like that. I mean, that's our three major fundraisers that the club works really hard on during the year to be able to put money aside for things like that. And that's why it's really hard because I think, if you're at all involved in any events that we do, you just walk out with a perspective of either watching these kids participate, never having gotten to try something before. Parents do not have to spend money, it's a free event. They come out and enjoy themselves too. And just the things we hear, just the thank yous, and boy, this is really great. And we're gonna, just that you guys care that much to help the kids in the community experience things. Yeah, that's a hard one because I attend a lot of the different events and a lot of the even before being president, and it's hard to say that any one of the things that we do is better than the other because they're all going into that bucket of we just do it, we do it for the kids and make a better community that way.
I've got one that tugs at I've got two that tug at my heartstrings. One is just more. It's so good for the community, the Avenue of Flags, and what Tom Novak and his team, Bob Berkman and Mike Brubaker, what they've done, and his entire team. I don't want to leave anybody out. It is so cool. My wife and I have had the same route. We live in Yankee Trace, so we know it's so cool to see all the flags in Yankee Trace, but holy smokes, over 4,000 flags now in what would normally be a logistical nightmare. They have turned it into a well-oiled machine, and it just came from Tom, wanting to be patriotic and wanted to honor soldiers and airmen and Marines and sailors that were coming back from deployment and put a flag in their yard. And it's so cool that our community asked. They said, "Hey, how can I have a flag? It's really cool to have a flag." And bam, fast forward 10 years later, and we've got a fundraiser that raises over $100,000. So that one tugs just at who I am at the core being. But I want everybody to know the emotion in being involved with what we do in conjunction with Children's Hospital. I sent Sarah an email, and I won't steal the thunder, Sarah, of how much we raised, how much was given to Children's, and a lot of it probably specifically for the cancer care area of that right there. But that one tugs at my heartstrings. Sarah, can you, number one, tell everybody how big that check was? And I love how you talked about what we donated to the library, but there's just a couple other. I'm always able to email you and say, hey, what's at 2.0, I want to make an announcement of the wonderful things we do. And you always seem to have a lot of these things right at your fingertips because you do it every day as president. What check did we write to Children's, and just mention some other things like that. And you can stay on the cancer theme if you want, because Build-A-Bear, but you can go where you want with that. Tell us.
I was also going to jump in because you mentioned Avenue of Flags. So not only did we start it for our club, but our Avenue of Flags team has been able to help other Optimist clubs start it in their community as well. So as a major fundraiser, so they've been on board with that as well. But heading back to Dayton Children's, every year I mentioned the annual golf outing that we do. A major part of that golf outing fundraiser is set aside to go specifically to Dayton Children's. For years, it went to oncology and hematology, but now it is split. A portion of the proceeds goes to oncology, hematology, and then a portion of it goes to youth mental health, all at Dayton Children's. So last year's golf outing brought in proceeds totaling $21,000. And that was presented to Dayton Children's back in September of 2025 for them to use throughout the year for the travel fund, the patient assistant fund, specifically for youth mental health and oncology, hematology. Not only do we provide that source to Dayton Children's, but we have a committee within our club called Childhood Health and Wellness, and they do a lot with Dayton Children's. A couple of times a year, they do Build-A-Bear events for either oncology, hematology, or sickle cell, which we've done several of those as well. What we basically do is we buy all the supplies, we buy the bears, we buy the snacks, and any of the like prizes that we hand out during that event. We go into their chosen facility, and they invite patients that maybe haven't done the event before, whether they're in-hospital patients or outpatients. And they come with their family. Their siblings are welcome to come as well. And they go home with a fully dressed Build-A-Bear and some treats as well from that event. So we do 2 or 3 of those a year. And that committee also does nurses appreciation. They do that twice a year, where they take breakfast to the nurses at Children. We purchase all the food for that. They take it early one morning, so that when the nurses arrive for the morning shift, and the food is there for throughout the afternoon for them to enjoy. So we do an awful lot just through our Childhood Health and Wellness Committee. They've been getting really involved with youth mental health as well, doing some Build-A-Bears for some youth mental health type facilities. So that's a big effort, but it's always appreciated, and there's nothing like going and you know the patients are coming for a Build-A-Bear, but when a sibling comes through and they say, I get a bear too? Like, why do I get a bear? Well, it's because they're going through so much as a family. It's not just the patient. It's, one kid doesn't get to do as much because they're at the hospital so much. So it is just heartwarming when they realize, oh, this is for me too. So it's all encompassing, and like Greg said, it does tug at your heartstrings.
Sarah, let me ask you this. How long have you been with with this Noon Optimist now? How many years?
Just about 10.
Okay, so a decade into this.
Yep.
Right? Which means that you were probably 10 when you joined, because you're
No.
in.
Not at all.
But let's say that you were talking to a young executive, somebody who just out of college, maybe they just got their first job at LexisNexis or somewhere around here in the area, and they're looking, they're debating on getting into a nonprofit like this one that does just an immense amount of good. I'm wondering if you could tell us 10 years later how the Noon Optimist has changed Sarah Umbright's life.
Yes. So when I joined, I had children that were, I was very much a part of their lives, helping in school, helping with sports, just there. And they were at the point where they were starting to not need me so much because they were, sophomores, seniors in high school, and I could see that, gosh, I need another outlet. I will be needing another outlet, because being a part of helping and doing, that's just who I am. And always being a part of their lives was very fulfilling for me. So I had a family member that was a member of Noon Optimist, and they always talked about, gosh, we're doing this, and it's always kids focused, or we're going to go help at this event. And I finally said, when it got to the point where I was like, I need a transition, I finally said, well, I'm going to go see what it's about. And I did pretty much get hooked right away. You go to a meeting on Tuesday, and you just feel the energy in the room, you feel the excitement, you're keyed in to really what our club does. We highlight maybe what we did that week and how we impacted kids in the community, or what's coming up. And so you really do see what we do and how it makes an impact in the community. And I think I went home and joined that night. And since then, it has been an amazing outlet, not only just the activities and the activities of what we do, but the people, just the members that you come across and the interaction. And, I always call it I always call it our Optimist family, because that's what you do become. And it's not, like I said, you might not see somebody for 6 months because of their life and everything that they're busy with. But boy, when you do, it's just like you catch up and you welcome them back, and they just fold right back in, and it is just a great group of individuals. And I think all of us being like-minded in the same sense just makes it even better.
Well, Tony, I'm going to ask that we kind of wrap up a little bit differently tonight, not too much off script, but we have 3 opportunities here: Greg, Tony, and Sarah, all different perspectives and come from different backgrounds. I want us each to kind of just take a quick second and speak to everybody that's watching this right here, to make a case that if you're going to look for a service organization, look for one, find the one that fits you right here. But we really feel, I think everybody here on this podcast feels like Centerville Noon Optimist is a worthy thing for you to explore. There's so many people in this community that want to make a difference, and they think that it has to be at this level every Tuesday or every third Thursday or volunteer at every event, and it doesn't. So I'll just go first, and I'll just quickly say to anybody watching right here, we don't throw the networking word around, and we don't do that intentionally, because you're serving, you're giving back some time because you've been given an opportunity. But let me tell you, there's no better way to network when you're volunteering. I got to know Tom Henderson, the previous Centerville school superintendent. I got to know about his mom, his dad. We delivered Christmas trees together 2-3 years in a row. Any given lunch, there's tons of from a sitting fire chief to a police chief to a sitting Kettering judge, and they're all out there volunteering. They're not just showing up at lunch, they're volunteering. That is an opportunity just for you to get to know the movers and shakers, Sarah, that you pointed out. There's a reason the Optimists have been around for 50 years. There's a reason we raise several $100,000 every year, and it's because you're around those people. So you might be serving, but boy, you're getting a chance to get to know some pretty cool people. Tony, what would you say?
I would say this, that you will receive back far more than you could ever give. And whether that's through the eyes of the children, or, that I watch the Noon Optimist do a ton of work with the food pantry that I was able to help be a part of, First On, which is here in Centerville. And you can't outgive the goodness that comes with community. So even if you dip your toe in and just become a member, it's the best next first step. And then you'll do a little bit more, and then different seasons give you different flexibilities, and no doubt eventually one day you'll be the president, and Sarah will be glad to hand it over to you. Sarah, what about you?
Yeah, Sarah, what do you say?
I say just try it. You're not going to be out anything if you come for a Tuesday lunch. Just come see what we're about. Come to the next event that we do. See who we are, talk to some people. I think if you do that and you come and you just, stay for an hour with us, even at lunch, or, if you can't make the Tuesday lunch, we do have the 2.0 option. Same kind of format. You'll get to meet some actual Centerville Noon Optimist members as well, who can even enlighten you on what we do as an overall club. So you wouldn't be missing out on a thing. Even if you just came and tried it, you might really see that there's a connection, and you might really see that there's a place for you, and something might really speak to you. And what better way to give back to your community, because that's who we are.
I love it.
Lunch or snacks would be on us too, so you get that first.
There you go.
Free.
Yep.
All right.
Well, friends, that's our podcast for today. As always, we're forever thankful for you, our community. And remember, as the small business goes in the community, so goes the community. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. And hey, go to CentervilleNoonOptimist.com. You can sign up, get your membership. You can also talk to them at the Americana Festival. They will be all over the place. You can check out their 5K race or the golf outing July 13th. I bet there might still be a couple spots open, or maybe if you want to sponsor a hole, reach out to Greg or I. Will help point you in the right direction. Until next time, thank you for being part of the Ohio Business Spotlight.